All right. Well, good morning still. Today we're going to be talking about how campus is going to be transitioning from resource accounts to shared mailboxes. And a resource account is an email account that will have an ID and a password. And a lot of departments, they have a shared ID and password. So they've made up this email account that they pass around the login to other people. And that's not really a secure way to do it. So let me just bring up my slideshow here, and then we'll get into a demonstration. So again, a resource mailbox, the way that was, it looks like a typical mailbox, but on the front end, we had some kind of email address with an associated password, and we passed that information around to various people around the department or college. But that's not really a secure way to do it. And with this multi-factor authentication now, we can no longer do that, and because of security issues. So what we do now, we still grab this mailbox, this email mailbox, but now it's going to be a shared mailbox. And the way that's going to happen is we're going to set up different security groups. And the way campus is going to name them, you'll see a -O if they are going to be owners of the mailbox, and a group of -M will be modifiers. So the modifiers will be able to add different subfolders, and they can send and receive items. And of course, then you're going to have a read-only group. So you might have students or maybe people that all they want to do is read the information from this mailbox. So they'll have these, and the owners, of course, they'll be able to see all of this mailbox, and they can add people to these different groups. So what we'll do is help you populate these groups. In this example, Snoopy and Woodstock, they're owners, and then Linus, Sally, and Lucy are modifiers, and poor Charlie Brown, of course, he always gets the tail end of it, so he's a read-only. What makes this nice is we will use, as users at the university, we'll use our own ID and password. We no longer have to remember all these other ID and passwords. We'll have that one ID and password. We'll log in, and it'll give us rights to whatever shared mailbox that we should have access to. So again, if you're part of the group of owners, once you add that mailbox to your Outlook, you'll automatically get the whole mailbox. Whereas the modifiers will have to assign permissions. And once you get shared mailboxes, your IT pro will help you set this up. But I'm going to show you how to do it. But we never want to assign permissions to individuals. We only want to assign them to groups, okay? Even with Charlie Brown down here, this is a one-way, but we don't want, just because Charlie's the only one in the read-only, we never want to assign it just to Charlie Brown. And I'll show you why here in a second. But so this is going to be our ideal setup. This is how we'll set up a shared mailbox. So let's say Peppermint Patty comes in. She likes Charlie Brown. She's going to help Charlie Brown. So all we have to do is add her to that group, and it will automatically get the same access as what Charlie Brown had. Or let's say that poor Sally, she's fed up with this Charlie Brown gang. She leaves. They can easily take her out. We don't have to go through our shared mailboxes and find out where her permissions are. All we do is simply take her out of this group, and it removes her access, okay? Because, as people move around the university, unless you're like Veronica and I have been here for 30 plus years, there's a lot of people move around the university. So the way I'm going to show you how you add a shared mailbox, both in Outlook web access, and then how to add it within Outlook if it's a shared mailbox. And then also, if your IT pro says, yeah, I will train you could do this for your department or your group, I'll show you how you can manage groups. And it's simple to do on how to manage groups. All you're going to do is use the Outlook app. You can use the global address book to see what groups I'm a member of. And then you're going to use an application called Manage Groups. So once you go through the training, they're going to give you a program called Manage Groups. And that's where you can add and remove users from each group. Okay, are we good so far? All right. So in my demo, I have a shared mailbox already set up called the MU DoIT Training Shared MB. I just put that on there so I know it's a mailbox. And I have a security group called this, and I've set up 3 of them, one again for the owners, the modifiers, and the read-only, okay? On the back end, when we create these groups, we get these funny looking security group names here, but the display name you'll see in Outlook will be like this, and I'll show you that. All right. Oh, the one thing that I told the IT pros is when you set up groups, if you have end users that's going to be managing the groups, be sure to give them both. Go ahead and give them the display name and the associated, be sure to give them the group name and the associated display name. That way, when you look it up, it's going to show this as well, and that way you know you have the right group. Okay, so let me get out of this. Yes, Veronica? Oh, you're muted, Veronica. Go ahead.
So you said the person that's requesting the group, they'll give it a name, or y'all will create the name?
We will, yeah, the IT pros. So you'll work with them to, well, they'll work with you, and you explain to them what your group is going to be for, and then between the two of you, you'll come up with how you want your group to be named. So that's a good question. And then they'll go out and they'll create the group based on the information you gave them, and then they'll have this at the end of it. So that way, when you look in your address book, you'll see whether or not they're owners, modifiers, or read-only. But this part, it'll start with MU if you're on the MU campus, and then maybe the department or whatever college you're in. This example is arts and science and biology. But if you have a computer out in the lobby that you need this for, like for students and stuff, they might, lobby computer. But so you'll work with your IT pro to come up with that display name that best represents what you need. Good question. Okay.
So another one. What's the biggest difference between this and just creating a Teams channel?
Well, this one will have, I'll show you, but in Outlook, you will have it's more for email. Okay. So this is more that you can send email back and forth. You're right. In a Teams, you can collaborate on files and do chat. And that's kind of the direction a lot of people are going. But let's say you need to set up an email address so people outside the university can collaborate through email. So this is mostly using an email mailbox.
Okay.
Or maybe a calendar, right? So you can set these up either a email, you can have a shared mailbox, you can have a room calendar, or you can have an equipment calendar. So if you have vehicles or some equipment in a lab, you can also set this up for one of those services.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good question. Anything else? Any other? And again, as we go through, if you have other questions, be sure to let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so once those are set up, I'm just going to show you what this looks like in Outlook. I'm going to open up Outlook. And if I open up the address book, again, I can go out here and let me just find one of these groups. Is it NU DoIT shared training? So here's the groups I can easily see in here, and I can open up this owner, double click, and I can see, okay, Greg Kelly's an owner there. Another thing I can do, let's say that this Greg Kelly guy leaves. I can search up Greg Kelly. I can open it up and say member of. So I can say, what groups is he a member of? These O groups, those are groups that's used in Teams. So like Veronica was saying, I can see what M365 groups he's a member of. But if I come down here, I can say, oh, he has access to one of our shared calendars. So I can document this, and then I'll show you how to go into manage groups and do that, okay? But the first thing I want to do, now that this group is set up, I want to make sure that I can access this group within Outlook and or on the web. So let me first, the web one's pretty easy. Let me open up a browser here, and I'm just going to go to office.com and open up Outlook, right? Outlook on the web. I go to office.com for everything, for Teams or OneDrive. Then I can just click on whatever application. Okay, so from here, since that mailbox is already created, this is my mailbox. If I come up here to my profile, the picture of me here, click on it, there's an option here that says open another mailbox. So I'll click on that and I'll simply type in the mailbox I'm looking for. DoIT training, and you see I've had it open before, but that display name, I'll just use it and I'll say open. And that, since I have rights to that because I'm an owner, I can see the mailbox. Okay. So here's the mailbox for that account, and I can go back and forth, right? I can be working in my mailbox and the other mailbox if I need to send mail from that. So if I say new message, it's going to come from that mailbox. Okay, it won't come from me. It'll come from the DoIT training. So if you have students, email on your behalf or on the behalf of the shared mailbox, have them use the Outlook one, because then it doesn't say, oh, it's coming from the student account, right? You want to come from that mailbox. Okay. So let me just get out of that. Now within Outlook, the Outlook app client, if I need to add the mailbox here, I need to go to Files, Account Settings, and Account Settings again. Here it shows me the accounts that's within Outlook. I want to highlight my email address because this is the one that has access to that mailbox. So I will highlight that, select Change, and then under More Settings, it's a little deep. You go under More Settings and Advanced. So under Advanced, here's an option. Let me remove this one and I'll add it back. So under here it says open these additional mailboxes. So I want to add that mailbox that we were just talking about, the DoIT training shared mailbox. Let me click OK. So it's going to add that mailbox here. Okay. And then I'll say apply, OK, and hit next and finish or done. Okay. And then I can close this out. Now, if I look under my mailboxes, I will see one. If I scroll down here, here it is. So here's another mailbox. I have a lot of mailboxes. These are a lot of ones that I've tested. But here's the one that is DoIT training shared, and I have full access. But I will tell you, if I come into here and I hit new mail, right now that will be from me. So in Outlook, you could either have it from you, so you're sending kind of as that mailbox. If you want to send it from something else, like from that mailbox, you'll have to drop that down. And then I've done it before, so I can just say other email address if you haven't done it, and say MU the DoIT training shared. So I want to have it come from this user, right? And it looks like this. And next time I need to do it, it's going to be there. So I just need to make sure that it's coming from the correct email address. Otherwise, if it's from me, the people on the other end will think it is from me. So that's the big difference between the two. Between the web and your Outlook application program on your computer is the from field. But fortunately, it will show the from here because you have more than one mailbox open. So you can choose who you want to come from. Okay. So that's how you add them. Once they have been set up, you add them in that manner. And they will help you set permissions to each, whatever folders you have in there. Once you set permissions at this inbox level for the modify and owner, the modify and read only, all the newly created subfolders will automatically get those permissions. So you don't have, you can add different folders under your inbox or somewhere else, and it'll automatically inherit those permissions. Okay, and again, they will help you set these up. But all you'll have to do going forward is once the mailbox is set up, once people have it either in their Outlook application or on the web, they can just use it. So if I go, The best way for students to use it is to use the web, because then they can go to any computer, log in with their credentials, and have it on the web. Now, to manage these groups, once you have the ability to do this, once you're an owner of a mailbox, they will give you access to a program called Manage Groups. Okay. And you will find that they'll push that out through Software Center. Software Center should be on your desktop, but if it's not, and they'll probably help you install it, you just go to the Start button and type in Software to get Software Center. Because this is how a university pushes out programs now or make them available. Under your applications, you will see Software Center. And I've already installed it, so if I go to my installation status, I should see it here. Manage Groups will look like this. Okay. So you'll probably get that installed. And then all you have to do is to manage the groups. You can, of course, store it out here on your desktop. And if you don't have it, just click on Start and type in Manage Groups. That's right here. So I'm going to just click on that, and this is what it looks like. If I click on Manage Groups, it's going to come up like this. Okay. So if I say, I know the name of my group, right? I know the display name is MU DoIT. How about if I click on this first? And you know what? I need to make sure I'm connected to VPN. Yeah. So when you use Manage Groups, if you're not on campus, you have to run this VPN like you used to have to remotely. But if you're on campus, you don't need that. Okay. So I'm going to type in MU DoIT training and then shared. I'm not going to do all of it. Let me just see what that finds. Okay. It's going to look like this. That's the mailbox. And that's why I want to say, make sure you have the right mailbox. But what I want to do, I want to make sure that I have the right group, because you're going to be managing groups. My group name was MU DoIT Shared Training. I had that a little backwards. And that's where I should see the -O, the -M, and the RO. So this is where the users are going to go into, right? They'll give you this information. You say, okay, I want to add people to make modifications to that shared calendar. You'll simply double click on this. It's going to bring up this, and I'm just going to say, I'm doing some testing there. Let me remove that. Now I'm going to say, yeah, I want Veronica and Sarah to be modifiers of this. I will simply hit add, and it's going to say, well, what is their username? I don't know what your new username. I'm just going to guess. Is that is that your username, Veronica? Okay, good. And Sarah, I'm going to guess yours is this with an S. No. What is your username? Oh, SAP KCB. Okay. I wouldn't have guessed that. SAP KCB P. Okay. Check names, and it's going to find you both. So now I hit OK, and now you all have the ability to add that mailbox to your Outlook because you're modifiers. So if I go back to that, and you guys can try that if you want, you can just go into File, Account Settings, and Account Settings in Outlook. Highlight your name and go to Change, More Settings, and Advanced. And click Add, and this is what you want to add. MU DoIT Training Shared MB. Let's make this a little interactive here. And I will show you those permissions. So if I come in here and I look at this mailbox, I click on that. I'm going to right click and say the data file properties. Here's permissions. It says that the M is a publishing editor. And we use publishing editor because it gives you full rights and the ability to edit or to create subfolders. But again, we never want to put individuals in there We only want to put in groups. And if I come down to the inbox, I'll say property. Oops, sorry, I didn't select it. You know what? I must have taken. Can you all get access to the inbox and stuff? Can you all see that?
I can't because it says I need to restart my computer.
Okay, and you know what? Let me try mine again because mine's giving me some kind of message. Now your other email is working fine, just that one. Let me just check that again.
Yeah, everything's fine otherwise.
Let me see if I can get to it. Okay, well now it's working. So if I go to inbox and say properties, if I go to permissions, it shows again, the M is publishing editor. And I think I created some of these after. The only thing is for people who have these folders that's in place prior to the transition. So if you're going from a resource account to a shared mailbox, we have to set the permission at every folder level. But if it's a new folder, and I set it here, every new folder will automatically receive their permission. So it'll be good. But again, they will help you set that up. But again, that's how simple it is to use a shared mailbox. Once you are a member of that group, you'll be able to add it and you'll have all the rights, unless you're like Sarah and you have to restart your computer. But that is a good mention there, Sarah, because you might, once you add it, you might have to go out of Outlook and back in. I don't know, Veronica, did you have to go out and back in? No, okay. You shouldn't have to, but if there's any issues, we always tell people, yeah, once you close out of Outlook, log back in so you're re-authenticating. So that's how you add the mailboxes, and that's how you manage them. It'll all be by the display name. Just know behind the scenes. So let's say I'm looking at this. Again, I'll look at Veronica's name now. ONAPARTE, Veronica. I'm going to open up Veronica's name here, say member of, and it's going to show the shared DoIT training. I'm sorry, the DoIT shared MU DoIT. Okay, it might take a little while to show up here. I just added her. But there should be a DoIT shared training group that will show up. Okay, here I can see that she's part of some other groups. I'm going to open up. Oh, right now I'm offline. Let me try this again. Let me say global address book and see if I'm able to look her up there. Now that it's online, I was using the offline one. Let's see if that one's been updated. Let's see, MU DoIT. No, it still doesn't have that one listed. Okay. But if I look up mine, one thing I wanted to show you. So it says a member of, and if I go back down to that MU DoIT shared training -O, I'm an owner. If I open that up, it's going to show here. It says, yeah, here's your display name and here's that alias. So here's that group that's kind of behind the scenes. So you know. And another thing that's important is when you're using manage groups. And if I search for MU DoIT shared training again, I'll say find that one. If I open up this manage one here it's going to show me that funny, I say the funny name, kind of what's behind the scenes. It just reassures that it has the right, that you're picking out the right one, that I'm putting you all in the correct one. Okay. So we've asked them to give you both, and I don't know if they're going to do it in a spreadsheet, however you want to document that. But again, you could always come back to a user if you know the name of your group, or if you say, I can't remember the name of that group that has access, you could always come right here to the mailbox, right click on it and go to the properties and look at the permissions. It's going to show you the names of the groups that have permissions to the box. Okay. Well, I just had a pop-up say, we have 5 minutes left on my meeting. So you guys, is any of that confusing?
It was recorded, so I can go back and listen.
You can go back, yeah. So we'll make this available, and I'll also post it for other users, end users, because the other training that I have is for more detail, more technical, I should say, for the IT pros. But the only thing the end users will need to know, most people, is just how do I add this mailbox to my Outlook? And then the more advanced users will be how to manage these mailboxes, which we went over as well. So. Oh, yes, Sarah, yeah, good point. Sarah, now you shouldn't need, you know what, you shouldn't need VPN for the mailbox.
Yeah, it's not letting me expand the folder. So,
Okay, and I had trouble at the very beginning too, but Veronica said, so it might take a little bit to do
Yeah.
that.
I'll wait and see what happens. I have a resource account mailbox that I assume will need to be transitioned,
It will be.
but that one does work. So,
Yeah, because you're probably having to log in with different credentials, right?
yeah.
So that's what, again, what they're getting away from. But who's your IT pro, Sarah? You know?
Chris Bruno or Perry
Okay.
Sally.
Yeah, either one of those. Yeah. So
Yep.
between now, I think, and July 1st is the goal to get all those transitioned over. So,
Okay.
and like I said, what makes it nice is because with those resource accounts, they're not affiliated, they're not assigned to a user. So anybody who has access with the ID and password could send stuff, and we don't know who did it, unless you're the only one that has access. But with this, we know who sent the information. So that's the whole thing. So, all right. You all have any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
The lime green circle.
Oh, around my arrow.
Yeah.
I can change the different colors and stuff. It's a little application that I use for training, so people can, just so people can follow along.
Okay.
I can toggle that off, like that, but I'll leave it highlighted just so I made my arrow a little larger and a highlight. So.
And then the other question: how do you blur your background? I know how to blur it in Zoom. Like Sarah, her screen, her.
Yeah. So if you go up there to your three dots on the top menu bar, you know what? Let me move more. I'll just move this onto my screen. Now you can see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you hit the three dots down here, it says apply background effects.
Okay.
If you click on that, here's a blur here, and there's a bunch of other things. You can look like you're in an office, or I have some, like you said, I have some different ones down here that I use. I can turn on this other Teams look.
Yeah, I like that.
There's also the surfer style. Anyway.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different, but you can go out and just look for Teams backgrounds, and you can, and at the top of that menu, here's an add new, so you can add new backgrounds. Once you find some, here's an option to add new ones.
Okay.
So if you want this, this nice typewriter behind me here.
Yeah.
The fun ones, yeah. Yeah, but that's how you add them. I was trying to explain it. I'm like, I could drag my screen over here and I don't know. I've done some Teams meetings in the past on training. Have you all had any training with Teams meetings on all the things you can do within a meetings?
They first.
I don't know if I did that one yet.
We might do that. Like, here's a together mode. If you have let me see if that comes on. So we're sitting in a little classroom here, and you can change. You can I can change the scene, so it looks like we're being more productive in a conference room. And the closer you are to your camera, the bigger you get. But there's a lot of fun ones in there. Here we're sitting at a coffee shop. So anyway, I think I'll do that. I was looking for more things to do in April. I had to fill a couple of Wednesday spots. So I think I'll do another Teams meeting training. Just kind of go over some things you can do with Teams meetings.
Okay.
I think how to have fun in Teams meetings.
How to have fun.
You just showed us.
Yeah. Not the same old boring stuff, but Be more dynamic with Teams meetings. Maybe that's what, or have fun in Teams meetings. So if you see a training, how to have fun in Teams meetings, just know that came from Sarah. That'll be the title of the training. All right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You're always so helpful.
Okay, well, you're
Thank
welcome.
you. This was great.